and gentlemen, welcome back to the #1 most valuable real estate community in existence. Today we've got on a very special guest, Mr. Ben Williams, coming to join us today to talk about how to get more out of life. He's going to be breaking down how he went from the military to becoming a real estate mogul through finding discounted and negotiating discounted real estate opportunities. Mr. Ben Williams, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast, dude. This is hype.
Absolutely, man. It's been a while since we've been able to chop it up. Happy to sit down with you. We're going to get some people in here, and we're going to run it up, man. So without further ado,
Absolutely.
who is Ben Williams?
Oh, good question. All right. So yeah, I'm 26. I live in Greenville, South Carolina right now. I was served about 2.5 years in the military. I was airborne infantry in the Army, and then at about probably 3/4 of the way through my contract, I actually had bilateral breaks in my legs, and I broke the lower part of my leg, and then tore up my left MCL, and did a bunch of other stuff to my hips, and basically I wasn't supposed to walk again. And then I got medically discharged back in October of 21. And throughout that process of me getting out, I actually lost a really close friend of mine that was also in the military. And through that experience, I remember one day I was sitting outside of a hospital after getting x-rays as I was going through my outboarding process. And when he passed away, I was like, I had no money. Like, I was broke as hell. And so I couldn't even like donate any money, or they had like a GoFundMe, and I was like, I literally have no money to give. And I just had this feeling where I was like, I'll never be this guy again. Like, I'm never going to be the dude that's like, oh, I can't help you because I don't have anything. And so I was like, I want to become valuable so that way I can literally be valuable to other people. And that was probably about 3 years ago. Thank you.
Wow. 3
So,
years.
and it's been a ride ever since. Yep.
Absolutely. Talk to me about what went through your mind, when you were in that moment where you felt like you couldn't contribute anything. You wanted to. Did you feel helpless?
Yeah.
How did you feel in that moment?
Yeah, I cried. I just remember sitting in my car and just thinking like, here's a situation that life has given me where I have clearly failed to be prepared for. Another person asked for me to be able to do something and I couldn't do it. And it was just this helpless, demasculating feeling of like, the essence of a man is how much value you provide. I don't care what anybody says. Like, at the end of the day, your value is directly derived from how much value you bring. And I could bring zero. And it was the most hopeless, bottom of the barrel, just terrible feeling. And I was like, I refuse to ever feel this again. And I just remember sitting there with tears in my eyes, and I was like, I will never fucking come back to this feeling.
Wow. And so you went out of the military, you're in this position. How is it that you found out about real estate? How did you know that this was what you wanted to pursue?
So I didn't. So I became a property manager at an apartment complex, and I didn't know anything about like real estate. I had never made money outside of like the government. And so I was like, I don't know how to go get paid. And so I went and got this job as a property manager. I literally didn't even have my property management license. This is so funny. I haven't even thought about this in so long. And I was on Indeed, and I was like looking for jobs. And there was this job, and it was like $40,000 a year. And I was like, what? That's crazy, bro. And so I literally just I applied online, and I tried to call everybody that worked there, and nobody would answer. So I just drove to the apartment complex and walked inside, and I was like, hey, is there like a property management job here? And they were like, yeah, but like you have to go through our corporate office to get the job or whatever. And I was like, call them and tell them to hire me. They were like,
Wow.
it was just really funny. They were like, why would we do that? And I was like, who else showed up? And they were like, that's valid. And I was like, all right, bet. And so the lady did. She called. I guess the lady that was over her corporate office was like, hey, this guy showed up here and he's telling us that he's going to be able to like flip our property and make it way better. I didn't know anything. Like, but I was just like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And the corporate lady literally texted me. And that night it was like, hey, sorry, we gave the job to somebody else. And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. I was like, no way. And so then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get through this. Like, I'll find another job. And the next morning she called me and she was like, oh my God, I meant to send that to another person. You actually got the job. And I was like, bro, let's go. Yeah. And so like, I was like on top, like I thought I was rich as hell. I was like, I'm balling now, and making like $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And so that went on for a while, and I worked my ass off at that property management job. And the owner, it was like a 306 unit apartment complex. Like it was big,
Yeah.
and it was hard. And so I eventually, I don't know why. No, don't switch. Um, the owner of the property flew out from Arizona and met me, and I didn't know who he was. He told me he was an insurance adjuster, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm like walking him through the property, and he was like, I'm just messing with you, man. Like I own this property, and I was like, oh shit. I've just been kind of like chopping it up with him, whatever. And I was like, this is the guy that pays me, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, like good to meet you, sir. Like whatever. And he was like, you ever think you'd want to like have a career in real estate? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm saving up money. Like I'm gonna go buy a duplex or something. And he was like, no, like big boy, like buying apartment complexes. I was like, yeah, absolutely. But I even made the joke. I was like, but I think you kind of know what I get paid, so I don't have money for that. And he's like, no. He was like, you can use OPM. And I was like, OPM? He was like, yeah, other people's money. And I was like, okay, all right, whatever. And so he flew me down to Tampa that weekend, and I went to some like conference. And on my way back, he texted me and he was like, hey, we're selling that property that you're a property manager of because like the NOI was so high.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you can either move or like you have to get another property management job. So I was like, damn. So I got this other property management job for like one day after the conference where I learned about how to syndicate multifamily deals.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that job for one day, and I literally walked in the back, and the lady was like, yeah, we need you to like sort the keys. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, I can't. And so I walked upstairs and I was like, hey, like, I don't have a plan, and I have like $2,000 to my name, but I quit. he's like, you're insane. He's like, you're never gonna make it. And I was like, all right. And then I just left. And then like 30 days after that, I closed my first wholesale deal. Got completely lucky.
Wow.
That was nuts. So, yeah.
And that's incredible. I mean, you started off completely in like another sector, right? Where you had a property management opportunity, but it opened the door
Yeah.
for you to kind of think more like a real estate investor when you got to meet the investor that was the owner of that property. And it really goes back to show like who you know can really change everything for you. You know, just being in proximity with the
Yeah.
right people. And that's why it's so important to be around the right people. What did that opportunity really look like? I know that you got your first deal like 30 days after you quit that job, but how did that
Yeah.
happen? How did you find out about wholesaling?
So I think at that apartment complex, like the syndication thing, the big thing that the speaker hit home, and it was Tyler Devereaux. He was talking about like you just need to bring value, add value, and like adding value to property. And so whenever I got home, I literally just started driving around Columbia, South Carolina, and I was like, all right, what could use some value? Like I was just trying to like, so anything I saw, like if I saw a gas station that needed to be cleaned up, like I'd walk inside and be like, hey, who owns this gas station? And like I would call anybody. And so I don't know, probably 2 weeks of driving around, I passed this house, and it was like a for sale by owner sign, and it had written in Sharpie $55,000 as is. And I was like, I didn't even know what wholesaling was, but I was like, all right, I'll buy it. Like, I'll go find the cash. I'll do whatever I have to do. And so I called the guy that day, shook his hand, put it under contract. And I was like, let's go. And he was like, when do you want to close? And I was like, 30 days, like an idiot. I called like my dad, and I was like, hey, like, do you know anybody that I could get like a $55,000 loan from? And he was like, no. I was like, all right. And so I started calling like all my dad's friends, anybody I knew. And one guy, he was like, his name was Jason Dillard. He was like, why don't you just assign your contract to a builder for like a fee? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you can wholesale a property. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, look, man, I don't have time to talk to you right now. Just call me tomorrow and look up wholesaling on YouTube. And I was like, he didn't even tell me anything. I was like, what? I didn't realize what he had just told me. And so I got on YouTube and I learned about wholesaling, and for like 10 days. Mind you, at the time, I'm broke as hell, literally living in a camper, like broke. And just spent like 10 days locked into this camper learning about wholesaling. And so, dude, after those 10 days, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this happen. And so right after that, I like sold the property. I locked it up at 55 and sold it for 75, and I had to pay an agent 2K. And so I remember I was standing in my parents' backyard and I saw a wire for like 18 bands, and I was like, "Oh shit, just got different." I was like, "Yeah, we're in it now."
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
I did like two more right after that.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And so that's how you got into wholesaling. Now, since that first
Yep.
deal, the game has changed, the market has changed, just the
Oh
industry
man.
in general has kind of changed, and you've pivoted with it. A lot of people, they were maybe making money a couple years back, wholesaling off market, direct to buyers, through a list, were making some money, but a lot of these people got wiped out. How is it that you've been able to pivot to stay ahead of the curve and keep yourself relevant in the industry?
That's the thing. Well, you hit the nail on the head. Is staying relevant. Is staying with what buyers really want to do. And anytime you try to force a narrative on a buyer, you're just shoving it down their throat. They're just like, "Yo, I'm not trying to do this." And so it's more of trying to become like water around the customer instead of trying to fit them in a box. It's like, what shape are you, and I'll match it. So obviously, like I got into doing novations, doing seller finance, subject twos, and just really trying to figure out, okay, here's a person who wants to sell their house, under what conditions, at what price, and what's important to them, and how can I give that to them? If that means that I call a real estate agent and just refer it to them, great. If they want full asking price, they have no time contingency, they want what they want for their house, they're in no rush, then it's like, okay, you need to work with the real estate agent. So here's the phone number of a real estate agent. Here's the best one in your area because I do more deals than anybody in that area. Here's the agent. Or if you want to go the innovation route, or if you want me to spend money on your house and put some renovations into it, and then we sell your property, so that way you can feel better about the sale of it because you got what you wanted out of the property, and you still got to walk away from a property feeling good about it. Okay, let's do innovation. If you have 30 days and you need to come up with 50 bands for your house, let's wholesale it. It is what
Yeah.
it is.
That's
So
incredible. So you've made the pivot now from thinking just cash, I've got to make an offer that's low enough for me to assign it to somebody, to adding these different tools in your tool belt.
yeah.
So walk me through when you first get on the phone with the seller that either raises their hand, or let's talk about how is it you generate a lot of these leads, or a lot of these people sending you leads? Are you running a campaign? How are you first getting these leads to tell you, hey, I'm interested in selling my house?
So at first, I was just cold calling, just like everybody else, just calling anybody on Facebook, pulling lists and calling them. And then I moved into running Facebook ads. And then it was like, it was just kind of like feeding myself, like, okay, I got leads no matter what. And now, kind of where I've got to now is like purely referral based, is because like it's fun to eat, but it's more fun to sit at a table and everybody eat. And so
Yeah.
now it's like finding those JV partners and letting them either run their own Facebook ads. And it's like, hey, like you run the ads, we do the deal together, split it in half. And so it's like they learn, they make money, I make money. And so it's like everybody wins. So yeah, just finding the right people to work with. And I think in the beginning, a big thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to work with everybody. Like I wanted to be like, everybody can send me a lead. I'll take everybody's deal. It's like, I'm not playing that game anymore. It's like, I want whenever the people that I work with send me a lead, it's like they know the information to bring me. It's like phone, name, condition, what they want out of the house, how much they want for it, why they want that much, how did they come to that number? Like I want the full thing, just because it's like I would rather have three people that I'm like, I know for a fact if something happens to me, they're going to still churn and make me money. And if not, then it's like now I have 10 people that are just running around and they're not even going to benefit from it. They're not going to make any money at all. So it's like instead of hurting 10 people, I'm just going to dominate with these three.
Yeah. So you built
So
yourself up a
yeah,
really solid circle of people that are working with you, and
yeah,
they're in charge of generating these leads and putting these motivated sellers in front of you, and you're in charge of converting those
yep,
leads into deals and getting them sold.
yep, exactly. And the big thing on that is like, yes, it's cool having that network, but it's also like at the end of the day, it's all about reputation. Like if you want to be big, like real big, like you have to have a rock solid, reputation. Because now, like you watch videos of Grant Cardone not knowing what a deed is, and it's like, Come on, bro. Like you got to show up better than that. And so it's like you want to be able to know, like I know my stuff, and the people that somewhat represent me, and the people that I'm rolling around with, also have integrity and know what is going on and how to give people the result they're asking for, and not just trying to go make $10,000 by assigning their house.
Yeah,
So
I think that's super huge. And the other thing that I see a lot of just kind of in the wholesaling space is a lot of people find out about wholesaling. They think, oh, wow, this is a great way to make money. They don't really do it. They don't really build the skills
mhm.
themselves. They don't really make the calls. They don't really do the deals. But then they start to sell a course or they start to sell information or pitch, this dream that anybody can be financially rich doing this, right? And it happens a lot.
Yep.
But for those of us that are actually making the calls that aren't selling information but are actually selling discounted real estate, for those of us that are actually putting in the reps and building the skill sets necessary to be able to negotiate these types of deals, what do you think somebody that's brand new to the industry should really try to look out for and avoid or be mindful of?
The biggest thing is don't buy into the idea that having an abundant mindset means that you formulate your thought going me. An abundant mindset means you. Means every time I get on a call with somebody, I'm going, what do you want? And how can I become valuable? Because whenever I'm thinking me, I mean, I'm asking questions like, how can I get money out of this person? But whenever I'm thinking you, I'm thinking, how can I give this person a solution to their problem? Because you get paid based off of how big of a problem you can solve. And if you're thinking about how can I solve my problem of me not having money, you can't solve any other problem. Like you can't go solve somebody else's problem if you're wrapped up thinking, how can I make money out of this person? You literally have to just completely change your perspective and go, how can I make this person win today?
I love that. So for the person, and I see
Yep.
this a lot, especially with people that are like just getting started and they're in a position. I was that guy. I'm saying this because I was that guy when I was down bad and I was broke and I was living with my mom and I didn't have any idea, like really the proof of concept wasn't there for me yet. I was definitely that guy thinking, me, how do I make money?
Oh, me
Right?
too. Me too. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
what do you think changed? How is it that you changed your mentality to think from me to how is it that I can serve you to get what you want so that I can win in correlation, right? In relationship to the amount of value that I serve to you. Of course, I'm going to be taken care of in the process, but how is it that I can serve more people? What was the moment where you had that mindset shift where you thought, okay, really, it's not about me, it's about how I can serve you?
I had this was probably a year and a half ago. I was on the phone with a seller and I was going through my whole thing, and that you could tell there was this moment in the call. I can't remember the exact question. Oh, I asked her, I was like, I'm just curious, why are you okay with selling the property at a discount? And you could hear her voice break, and you could tell like she got tears in her eyes. She was like, this is where me and my husband lived, and all the value that was in that house is already gone. And it was just like, dude, it just broke my heart. And I no longer gave a, preface me. I no longer cared to make money off of somebody. I was like, how can I make this lady walk away, letting her know like I love her, like genuinely, like I hate this that you had to feel that. Like I want you to know like I love you. Like how can we make this win together? And like I did. And since that one I did a deal right after that one where like it was like in January, like right after that happened. And I made like 17,000 off this one in January. And the guy literally texted me and he was like, I hope you enjoy every dollar that you deserve it. And it was just completely flipped the way. And it was like, you totally can wholesale houses and love people and be a nice guy. Cause I think there's this whole idea of like, oh, I need to cut people and I need to get them where they can. And I really need to exploit all the deficiencies of their house. It's like, stop being that guy, bro. Don't be that guy.
Absolutely. I love that, man. That's something I can really vibe with, man. It is about serving
Yep.
people. You got to be able to put yourself in a position where you can serve others and put their interests before your own because you're going to be taken care of, but you got to make sure that you're being of service and adding value to these people. Wow.
Yep. Yep.
So I know a lot of people try to wrap their head around this idea that novations don't make sense logically, for somebody to want to work with you. And I know everybody has a unique response to this question, but for you, Ben, why is it that somebody decides to work with the Ben Williams versus going and listing it with whatever other agent and maybe potentially netting more? what is the offer that you bring to that seller?
100% transparency. I feel like everybody that comes to the table brings about, anywhere from 100 to 0% of the information. They'll either tell you about 50% of the information, they'll tell you everything that they want you to know for you to say yes to something, but they won't tell you all your options. I'm going to tell you the first call, like in our script, is like, either way, even if you don't work with us, I'm going to do everything in my power to point you in the right direction to give you the results you're asking for. Is that fair? So it's like, even if you don't work with us, I will be the person, I'll be the voice of reason. Like, even if it's hard news, I'm just going to let you know, Miss Smith, I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to say, hey, these are your options to get the result you want. And like, just by saying that, like, in following up on it, like, hey, if they don't accept my cash offer and they don't want to do innovation, here's a real estate agent's phone number. I've already set up a time for them to come to your house next week. And so just like doing that above and beyond, because a lot of times I literally just had this happen in Briarwood, Texas, where the guy wanted to go list it with an agent. He wanted to cancel with me. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Cancel with me. I gave him my agent's phone number that was going to do the innovation. And then after working with the agent, he was like, I just don't want to talk to somebody this much. He was like, you can have it. And then it gave me a $20,000 price reduction.
Wow.
He was like, I'd rather just do it with you.
And I think
He was like, just because I know you're not going to bullshit me.
that's what the seller is really looking for, and I believe that's what we can
Yep.
actually offer to them is that level of transparency. Because I agree with you, I'm all about telling and disclosing that we are an investment company and we do have to buy the property at a discount in order for us to feed our families, right? That's kind of the line that we use and we
Yep.
push. And from what I'm seeing is, really, as an ovation and as it works, yeah, they could potentially net more, but you have to put yourself in the seller's shoes, especially when it comes to problem solving, right? I'll give you an example of a property that I'm working on in Alabama right now. This seller is going through a situation where he's been run through, by a wholesaler that's given him all sorts of different promises. And of course, they haven't, followed through with anything, and they've ended up wasting this guy's time. Now, where we could have come in and say, look, we're going to set a realistic expectation for this price. It's going to be lower than what this guy made a false promise to you for, but we're going to be able to, complete this transaction. Now we've got a buyer that's interested, but they need a little bit more time. So I'm thinking, okay, how is it I can buy myself more time and stay in this deal so that I don't get out of this deal or they don't want to close, with somebody else, not me. I had to think, well, they're on the hook. What is really their pain? What is really their problem? It's that they don't want to be on the hook for that monthly mortgage payment, right? So I could come up with a counter to that buyer that said, hey, I need more time to say, look, if you're serious about this house, you'll get your inspector in there tomorrow. You're going to inspect the property and you're going to give us a non refundable deposit of 2 months of the mortgage payment. And that's going to go directly to the seller. So the seller probably would have never thought about something like that because they're not thinking about real estate and constructing deals all the time and negotiations, and they don't want to deal with the headache, right? They want to have the convenience of knowing that there's somebody that can actually work with them to get them what they want, which is just the peace of mind of closing, knowing what they're walking away with, and not having to deal with any phone calls or any of that nonsense. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, like, almost before any time I present any type of offer, I always like to say something that gives the seller this aspiration of who they want to be. So I'll let you know. So I'll be like, John, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, brother, I do have a couple options for your property, but I just want to go ahead and tell you, man, I've really appreciated working with you this far. I can tell like you're a guy that likes to have his information up front and can handle it. I feel like I work with sellers all the time that, I'm afraid to tell them the truth. So honestly, John, I just wanted to tell you, man, thanks for letting me be upfront and honest with you and letting you know the true situation of your property. But yeah, man, let me jump right into it. And then they're like, they can't overreact because they're like, oh, I don't want to let them down. So you just
Yeah.
kind of like give them this little freebie. Yeah.
And so you
Yep.
just you frame it in a way where you're preparing them for this huge reveal, and then you tell them how it is. You got to buy it at a discount, and
Exactly.
you give them that number, and then I mean, how is it that you overcome the objection, right? Of, oh well, I could get more, or is that the best? Like, usually buyers don't ask me, is that the best I could do? But maybe they try to come back and try to haggle on the number. What is it that you do to
Mhm.
overcome these sellers' objections?
The first thing is I do everything I can to just squeeze all the information so that way by the time I'm making an offer, I don't even like wait for them to say yes. I'm just like reading through the agreement and I'm like, yep. So if you're cool with everything that you see right there, click the bottom right. All right, next page, bottom right. Like I don't even half of them don't even say yes. They're just like, all right, yeah. Because I've already just been like, just so that we were like at the end of every call, it's like that call to action of like, all right, just so I'm clear, John, if we can get $135,000 for your property, we can get you closed in the next 90 days. I can have somebody completely oversee the transaction. You're hands free. You're not going to pay any closing costs. You understand that we're an investment company and we are going to sell your property for you, and you're going to walk away with 135. As long as I understand, there's nothing that would stop us from moving forward with an agreement. Is that right? And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, cool.
Love
So
it.
then it's like, if he were to bring it up an objection at that point, it'd be like weird. It'd be like, bro, we just talked about this. Like, why are
Yeah.
you being weird now? So
And so your
yeah,
period
I mean, and if there
is a
is an
90-day
objection, I'm
period
just
here?
like, yeah. So it's 90 days, and we have built-in 2 30-day extensions. So it's like
Wow.
5 months every time we sign one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ben Williams, 5 months on the contract. All right, 5 months to
Yep,
get it sold. Incredible.
yep,
And
yep.
I mean, on average, what is usually that turnaround time from contract to close for you?
Depends on the market, and really, right now, I'm not doing a ton of like I don't do a ton of deals. I only do it if I'm like, oh, it's turning around and this weekend, like we'll go under contract. I hate that whole feeling of like, oh, I've got 4 contracts out there and nothing's getting bought, and I have a seller calling me like, what's going on? It's like, I don't even want to do that deal, bro. Like, unless it's just a crazy discount, which means it's going to sell fast, I'm just not going to do it. Like, opportunity cost of my time and my mental bandwidth of stress, not worth it.
That's interesting
But
to
that's
hear.
not true. Like I will say, but in the beginning, take damn near every deal.
Yeah.
Might as well throw your hat in the game. That's how I got started. Like if I didn't even know what I didn't even know what a what's it called, an ARV was, but until I sold like my third wholesale deal, I didn't even know what an ARV was. I had no idea there was a calculation. I was just like straight up going by like, I bet someone would pay more. Like, would lock it up. So I mean, in the beginning, just raise your hand for everybody. Yeah, I'll do my very best to sell your house. Let's go.
Yeah. And so for the
But
people
just
that
being
are,
upfront and honest, and just being like, hey, I'm gonna do my very best to get this sold. Like, don't make any promises you can't fulfill, and do it. Do your best.
yeah.
Something will hit. Eventually, something's gonna hit.
Yeah, I like telling people take action. That's the number one thing. If you don't take action, you can't get any sort of result. But always making sure that you got at least some idea though about what the prices are and realistically not running anybody around. What would you say to the people that are maybe just getting started that feel like they're struggling in identifying the prices? How is it that they can underwrite a deal in like 30 seconds to a minute? Because for people like me and you, we can look at a deal and we can just already know like where we got to be at in terms of our offer and where we think roughly we're going to be selling this property for. How is it that we could relay that experience to somebody who's just getting started?
If you're just getting started, do everything you can to lean on people. Like lean on smarter people. Like try to find somebody that's willing to give you time and be like, hey, just being honest with them. Like, hey, I don't know much. I do come across a couple leads a month. Can I do my very best to let you know what I think the numbers are? And then you go through the numbers and then you kind of share with me where they're at. So that way you can kind of cross reference with somebody that has more experience. That's how I got good. And then now I don't even run numbers. Like I just immediately, once we get a lead, we have somebody go look at it. And they
Wow.
just give me a CMA. It's like, hey, this is the number.
So that's your process now. You don't even comp the properties. You're sending somebody out there, going, taking a look, taking the photos, running the CMA, and they're doing all
Yeah.
the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah. Why would, I mean, I don't, Dallas, Texas is a huge market. I don't live in Dallas, Texas. I've never been to Texas. I'm not a market expert. I don't know that they're building this building down the street. The only person that's going to know that is the real estate agent. So it's like I'd much rather have an assistant call her and be like, they have that conversation of what she thinks the property's worth, and then an assistant just goes, the number is 150. It'll sell for 150, and I go, great, because now I'm not using any of my time to do that activity that doesn't really make money and doing the activity that makes money, which is new leads.
Wonderful. Okay, well, let's talk about how you're going to scale, right? Let's talk about where you're at today and then your future vision for yourself, where you're going, which is most important, right? Because we can't arrive anywhere. We can't arrive to a destination if we don't know where we're going. So today, where are you
Yep.
at in your business and what are you going to do every single day so that you can get to where it is you're going?
So there is there was a podcast that came out by Alex Hermosi, and he talks about the top 4 skills that will pay you the most. And number 3 was raising capital. Like by far. Like the other ones were like they like basically be born in a hedge fund and be some political campaign and then raise capital. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to do either of those, but I can raise money. So what I'm doing a lot of now is my real estate ventures are completely on like a back burner, just kind of automatically. I have some dudes that I kind of coach, and then they get the leads from a JV partner, and they run them together, and they can like utilize my assistant and utilize all of the information for me. I meet with them like maybe once a month, but I kind of know what's going on. And my biggest thing is all I do is I network with business owners, and I message them on Facebook, and we run different campaigns to get on a call with them. And all I do is pitch them all day on business consulting and basically investing in multifamily real estate. Because then once I get to a point where it's like, hey, I have $5 million that I can throw into a syndication, you do one of those, over with, over with, and then just stack, stack, stack. Because all it is a long-term game. Like in the beginning, yes, start in wholesaling innovation. After you can make some money, play a long-term game, delay gratification, figure out how you can make residual income through passive real estate, period.
So you're
So
now
now I just meet
pivoting
with guys about money.
you're pivoting now to go and find these other business owners and build up your own network to then syndicate and get into these larger deals. That's where your vision is going now.
Yeah. And I don't even like the people that I'll do syndications with, like they have 2,000 units right now. Like they know how to buy property. They know how to add value. They have the property management company. We just agreed on an equity split. If I bring this much capital, I get this much equity. And so it's like, all I do is just have conversations like this. And it's like, yo, what's up, John? Tell me about your business. Sweet. We buy apartment complexes. You get a 22% ARR. Would you be interested if we get a property? Sweet. And then just have those guys that are like, yeah, I could put $500,000. Yeah, I could put $1 million. Yeah, I could, whatever. It's like, all right, now I have $10 million, not of my money, but in investor money. And it's like, okay, now I can have the syndicators bring me deals, and I just hand pick.
Wow. And so where are you looking for these deals right now?
Texas,
Texas, Houston,
Texas,
Dallas, where at?
Houston, Dallas, a lot of Houston, a lot of Houston.
Wow.
I want to buy in Austin just because I want to go stay there and meet Joe Rogan. He's my hero.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, how did you get into real estate? I know this is not a podcast but about you, but I want to know, how did you get into real estate?
Man, I got into real estate through wholesaling. I mean, I always remembered that
Yep.
growing up, like when I was driving in the car, I'd see all these huge buildings, right? And something about those buildings when I saw the apartment complexes and huge office spaces, like really lit me up. Like I thought that I could own
Yep.
those, right? I don't know why, but I thought I could, right? Because I can. And
Yeah.
I just always felt like I would be the owner of these big buildings and that I would actually construct the buildings and buy land and develop these different areas. And that's what I set out to do. Every business that I started, from like flipping items, reselling, stock trading, all these different things, e-commerce that I try to do, everything was with that end game of real estate in mind until I learned about wholesaling and that I could just start right now. Like I didn't need to wait to have money to start
Yeah.
finding deals, start negotiating, start being active in this industry. And when I learned about wholesaling, everything changed for me because that barrier, that idea that, oh, well, I have to have money to get started flew out the window.
Yeah.
Now, all I need to do
Yep.
is figure out how to find a good deal. And what I love about wholesaling is that maybe there are a lot of people that think, oh well, this is kind of pennies on the dollar. You're just trying to negotiate a small fee on a little deal or something. And yeah, there are deals that come around where the total purchase price is sub 100K. But the way that I see it, the skills that we are learning now are going to play a huge role in way larger acquisitions. Like I see myself in the commercial
Oh
space
yeah.
and just learning about this stuff and actually doing it, I believe is building that foundation. But I believe that the base of real estate, the fundamental, most important part is finding a discounted property. And that is wholesaling, right? It's finding a good deal. And so if you
Yep.
can find a good deal, the money will come, right? Especially when you're in proximity with the right people. I strongly feel like we're building an incredible community of people that are actively pursuing these deals. And what we're coming out with this website is going to be a platform for people to actually post these deals and get it in front of vetted buyers. Not only are they going to be able to post the deals and get it in front of vetted buyers, they're going to be able to partner with professionals that can help them convert their leads into deals and get them sold. So what we're creating here in terms of the amount of information that we've already been giving away for free, and then this platform that's literally already almost complete, this isn't an idea anymore, this is a very strong reality, is incredible to see it all coming into fruition. And so I'm really grateful, man. Real estate, it has changed my life. It's the only thing that I can think about. I sit down and I'll talk to other business people. I was sitting, and I do this stuff virtually, man. I'm in Chile right now. I was out with a developer
Oh
that did
nice.
over 500 luxury houses out here, and we went surfing the other day. And while I'm sitting there where his office is located on a golf course, we're talking about this idea. He's got this incredible idea. And I'm like, yo, this is an incredible idea, but there's no way that I could switch my focus from real estate because I'm just too in it. I just love this so much.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'm sold on it, man. That's how I got into real estate. I started wholesaling, man. I started same spot as you, dead broke. And
Yep.
here's what I think a lot of people need to understand. It's not about how much money you have in your bank account, right? Because there are a lot of people that they'll sell something, they might have a lot of money sitting in that bank account. They might come through an inheritance, right? They might get $1 million off of a family member that just passed and left them $1 million. But I would be more scared to be sitting on $1 million watching that account dwindle every single month than being dead broke knowing how to make more money. So I wouldn't even worry
Yeah.
about whatever money you have in your bank account. Start worrying about how to become more valuable, right? How to become more resourceful is very important as well. Find out how to create these types of solutions for these people that have problems that are motivated to sell. And that's exactly what we do, man.
100%.
That's the skill set that we learn and we grow here.
Yeah. And like that's the biggest thing is like, and I've been there so many times. Like even after doing deals, like going back to being dead broke is like you just get in this mindset where you think like I'm a loser, and it's like, dude, it takes one day. Like if you ever make a significant check, you're just staring at your phone. You're like, really? I was tripping that heavy, and now it's over. Like you weren't like a loser the whole time. You were just a winner that was confused. Like you just didn't know it yet. Like it just hadn't hit. So it's like chill. Like you can't become rich if you're already rich. Like you gotta be poor. Like that's how it works. Like you gotta pay your dues, and that's what makes it fun. It's like sitting around, going to dinner with your friends, being like, and I know the Tate brothers have said this. Like the only reason to be fun to be rich is be like, oh, you remember being poor? Like that's the only thing you're gonna talk about, anyways.
It
Bro, you
definitely
remember like with that one night we didn't even have money for like an Uber, and now we're like at this restaurant. Like that's what's fun. Not being like, oh, we've ate here 47 times. Like,
It's absolutely true, man. It creates that contrast and it makes you value what you have when you remember when you lacked what you wanted. And
yep.
it's a blessing, man. I really feel like this is the vehicle. There are a lot of people that post about different vehicles, e-com and trading and all this stuff. And I tried it all. I really tried these different avenues, but I've never felt this level of conviction in real estate. I know that if you put me in front of somebody that's motivated to sell, I can have a competent conversation where I diagnose their situation, understand their problem, understand their pain points, and I have a solution. And if it's not me, I'm a part of a community of people that can offer solutions that maybe I don't even know about yet. So it's like there's no way you can fail when you're in the presence of greatness and you're surrounded by success.
Yep. Yep. And just like refuse. Just refuse to take no. Like unless somebody seller's like, oh, hey, I don't want to sell. Like just become as valuable as possible. Where it's like, you have to go with me. Like
Yeah.
you really? You're gonna take less value for like. And now it's to the point where like I know if I talk to a seller, if they don't take my advice, they will be worse off. That's not even like on some arrogant shit. That's just like for real. It's like I'm not saying they have to work with me. If they don't take my advice, they will be worse off. Like if period. I just have done this longer and I am more dedicated and I have worked harder and I have had more conversations than whoever else is calling you. I know it. And the only way you get that is by doing it and suffering. Period.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ben, talk to me about some of your habits, man, because you're a guy that is an absolute machine. You know what I'm saying? This guy runs every single day. Like he's on it, you know? And you've got great habits. So talk to us about how important your habits have been, especially because you came from the military and you came from a completely different world, right, to the world that you're in now.
Yeah.
What were the
Yeah.
importance of your habits, your daily habits, what you did every single day to get you from where you started to where you are today?
Yeah. I think a big thing was in the military. I just remember constantly they would remind us decisions aren't decisions, they're votes, and they're votes to be who you want to become. That's all they are. You don't make decisions, you make votes. And so it's like every time you make the decision, it's like, what are you voting for? And so even whenever I got out, like that's what it was. And so it just seemed to me like when I got back into society, like people were making a vote to be worse. It's like I'm voting to go get slammed at this bar tonight and just not do anything. It's like, all right, that's who you want to become. You made that vote. And so for me, it was like, it's just been that constant reminder of like every day I go to the gym at 6 a.m. Like people expect me there. Like I have voted to become this person. And now I think the thing about habits is people forget that you're not really trying to form a habit. You're trying to form an identity. Because like for me, I could go eat awful food for 4 days in a row. But after that, I'm just going to go right back to eating healthy because I have identified as a person that values my health for so long. I'm no longer going to identify as a person that eats bad. Like I'm just not. Like I've just done it for years. And so it's like, you just need to do something so long that it's like, this is your identity. Like I literally set out to run a mile a day for a year. And now it's like day 423. I was literally running it last night and I was like, I don't even know why I do this, but this is my identity at this point. Like, forget about the goal, forget about the habit. Who are you? And become the person that you want to be. Forget about everything external. Because that's all you're really trying to do. Is like, you don't really want the money for the car. You want the money because you're like, dude, the guy that can do that is a savage. And that's who I want to become. Like, the car is just going to be to let everybody else know of who I already know I am.
Damn. Talk to us about the things that people can actually do to shift that identity, to create a new image of themselves.
Yeah. The first thing is forget about everybody else. Like stop watching everybody on Instagram that are like posting all and I do this because like I do like to be inspirational, but don't compare yourself to people at all. Because like they haven't been through the things that you've been through. Like your story is different. So you have to understand for you to compare yourself to them is completely irrelevant. Only compare yourself to yourself. And so instead of trying to be like, oh, I'm going to go lose 50 pounds and I'm going to have abs in 3 weeks, it's like, all right, well, that's kind of crazy. Like, why would you willingly put that stress on yourself? Just take the steps. Just take the slow steps of like, hey, today I'm going to go on a walk and I'm only going to drink water. Do that for a week. You do that for a week and then it's like, okay, now I do kind of feel better. I'm going to drink water and I'm going to eat a salad. And then it's like, and then you kind of get in this groove of like, I kind of like that I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Then it's like, oh, now I want to read a book. Now I want to read an article. Now I want to watch a video about how to make more money. Now it's like boom, 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 and everything just starts spiraling up. And it works the same way down. It's like, oh, you hear about this guy, like his girlfriend broke up with him. Now he's all sad, and now he locks himself in his room and it just gets stoned as hell all day and just plays video games. And now he's isolating himself, and now he got fired from his job. But people forget it works the other way. It's like, oh, you get in a little shape, get a little bit smarter, make a little bit more money, get a little in more shape, learn how to fight, learn how to talk, learn how to make better friends. And it's like, boom, 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 boom. Everything, all disciplines affect each other. Do not like all disciplines affect each other.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, man,
So,
talk to me about what it is you want out of life, man. What is it? What do you visualize to be your ultimate version of success?
I just want for the people that go to my funeral to stand there and all know the same thing. He just had the belief that more was possible constantly. Like I just want that's the legacy is like he believed more was possible. No matter what we did today, no matter what we accomplished, like we can still do more. And like that doesn't necessarily mean like on a work aspect. Like I'm all about having fun. Like we can have more fun. We can love people more. We can have more joy. Like we can go have better experiences. Like more, more, more. Like let's just go have fun. Is really where my mind's kind of been. It's like I just want to live and have all the experience that I possibly can and squeeze everything that I possibly can out of it. It's like I've got 75 years max, and then it's over. And here in 50 years, this Discord will not exist no matter how much we love it. So it's like the only chance we get to love it is right now. It's like let's just love the shit out of everything that we possibly can. Because once it's over, it's over. So that's it. That's what I want it to be.
There
Live
you
it
go.
up.
That's awesome,
Yep.
man. Well, I'd love to open it up. We got Mr. Supreme John up today. How are you doing, John?
Yo, what's happening, man? What's happening? Good to see y'all,
What's
fella.
up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, everything's good, man. I wanted to pop on here. I know I wanted to give a quick shout out to Ben, man. It's like he goes to say everything that he says, man. It's really true. Like I be watching his stuff, man, and I get like inspiration. Like I get inspired, bro. And
Thank
it's
you,
good
bro.
to have people like that that put you in those spots to really think and challenge yourself, and really say like, hey, look, like how will this happen? Like you said, you're where you're supposed to be at now. You know what I mean? Like nothing's ever
Yep.
out of line or anything. Like you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else, and if you do, you got to do it in a way where it's gonna benefit you rather than just tear you down and then make you sit down at home thinking, oh, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like him. Why should I even try? But
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, Ben, like, because I know that with such morals and very good, discipline, you have a very good discipline, values, and etc. Like, how deep do you stretch faith in it? Because I know you sometimes also mention God, and I
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
also put myself closer to God as well, as well as everybody else, because at the end of the day, nothing. If
Yep.
we don't put it through Him, like we won't ever know.
Yeah. So for me, if there was, and I went back and forth when I was in the military whether I believed in God or not, and now I know that I definitely do. And I came to the conclusion. I don't know if it's out of selfish conceit or what it is, but for me, I live a better life if I believe there's a God. And so even if I'm wrong, I won't care. Like if I'm dead and it's like there's nothing after this, I will still be glad that I lived a life as a person that was in service to God. Because as a human being, we have a natural drive to serve. Like you're going to serve something, even if it's yourself. Like you will be a servant to something, period. Whether it's your girlfriend, some vape, or just being whatever you want to be. Like you're going to serve something. And so for me, if I want to leave a big impact and I want people to feel like loved, it's easy for me to focus on I'm doing this for God, for the person that created me. Because if I focus on anything else, because I have, it's never given me a good return, ever, ever. It's always like, oh, I did this for me. I'm trying to go make some money for myself. Okay, now you're just a dude with money, and you're kind of a loser. But then when it's like I'm doing this for God and I'm doing this for out of the love for other people, oh man, now you're living.
Yeah, right,
So
100%. I deeply agree. And like I said, it's like God also challenges you because He doesn't like directly talk to you, but like He just puts these like certain like situations, challenges, like parables, as in the Bibles, where it's to how you see it. And I think it's with the everyday life. You know what I mean? As long as you wake up and you put God first. God leads you through the daily, day. So when you wake up in the morning, everybody, I just say a quick prayer. Be thankful, because a lot of people really don't see tomorrow for anything. You know what I mean? Just not waking up, and that's really a blessing. So, and not even to try to tie in religion or anything to it, but I know that's how deeply rooted I am to trying to make a success as an entrepreneur, because like you said, we're just we're God's servants, and we're just trying to do the best for everybody, love each other, help and support as much as we can, because there's a lot of a lot of evil, a lot of bad things, but you know light, the light will always shine no matter what in the darkness. So that's how you always
Yep.
want to keep.
The money's never yours, man. It's God's. It's just your turn to hold it.
Right. Amen. But
I
not,
love
man.
that.
I really appreciate you coming on as well. Really just giving us the pointers and tips, because it's really like you said. I just really love, bro, like how the disciplined you be, man. Like I just remember you were
Thanks,
talking
bro.
about like how the doctors told you, that you wouldn't be
Mhm.
able to like run and shit like that, and it's just
Yeah.
your own self belief, bro. Now you're running every freaking day, every single day, bro. And
Yeah.
that's amazing, man. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Yes,
That's
sir.
cool.
Hey, shout out to
But
John,
yeah,
man,
man,
for
it's
bringing
love.
Ben into the fold, man. He brought Ben into the Discord.
Hey, bro, like that's how it
That's
is,
right.
man. You just see you just see like certain people, bro, and you're just like, yo, he's got to be like in here, bro. Like, you know what I mean? This is how it is.
Yeah,
You just see, something. You just see something and you go for it. But hey,
that's
man,
cool,
I
man.
truly appreciate you, man. Thank you again for always giving us, good insight, man. Soon enough, man, we gotta all link up soon. Have the REI Rev meetup. Have like a whole panelist, man. It's gonna be crazy.
Let's do it, man.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna let you fellas finish up though, man. I just wanted to come in here and give some raps. Everybody, like I said, hit up Ben if you get anything down in the Carolinas, or anywhere, because that dude is a closer,
Yeah.
bro. So yeah, hit him
Thanks,
up.
man.
Yes, sir. But I'm gonna
Thank
let
you.
you fellas go, man. Have a good rest of your night, man. Thank you again. Truly appreciate
You
y'all.
too, brother. Yep.
Sir, take care now. Bye bye.
Take care, John. Awesome, dude. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming to join us. It's been an
Yeah,
absolute
dude.
pleasure.
I'm
As
down to open. I'm down to open it up and see if anybody has any questions. I don't
yeah,
want to just hop
absolutely.
off
Let's
unless
let's
if somebody has any questions.
let's open it up. I'd love for people to come and ask your questions. You can ask any questions about innovations, whatever, real estate, whatever. Raise your hand. Feel free to raise your hand. Come up on the stage.
For someone that's new, would you recommend doing it virtually or in your state? Mm, I mean, where do you live? Oh, virtually. No, I mean you can do deals in California. It's just sometimes a little bit more tricky. But I mean, it depends. Like if you can get a bunch of leads in California, just do where you're getting leads. If you're new, do every lead.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Welcome,
Good.
welcome.
How are you?
Good. I just have a quick question. And when you're doing like for sale by owner leads and they have
Yep.
their list already, I mean their price already listed, what would you
Mhm.
say is the percentage I would need to be at underneath their price in order for it to really be a deal for like a cash buyer?
So it would depend. They would if they're already listed for sell by owner. There's about a 95% chance they kind of have an idea of what the house is worth and they want just about market value for it.
Okay.
Um, I don't really try to spend a lot of time on for sale by owners just because I know that. Like I know that they're gonna want market value for the property. If anything, I would try to refer it to a listing agent and at least collect that referral fee. But if it is listed below market value, you just gonna want to figure out, hey, what could the house be listed and sold for? If you depending if you're doing a novation or a wholesale, if you're just gonna do a wholesale, you do the ARV value minus repairs 70%. That's your MOA. MAO.
Okay. Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
Did that answer your question completely?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Riley Durham, is that what he's talking about in North Carolina?
I'm not
Yeah, Riley
familiar.
Durham. Yeah, that's a good market. Yeah, I did a deal up there. It's pretty good. I'm a firm believer there's not a bad market. Like, a deal's a deal.
Yeah.
New marketing channels instead of cold call SMS. PPC. PPC works. Ads on cars. I mean, I'm not going to do that. But I mean, if you want to. Top call list or lead gen strategies. So top call list, probate and pre-foreclosures. And then lead gen strategies would be cold call, SMS. PPC is where we get the majority of ours. Is where they originate. And then they kind of JV'd us.
Can't beat it, man.
Yeah, PPC is funny. Cold call, SMS, PPC, RVM, we're all banned. What would you do? Okay.
Intent, somebody that's searching for you, that's literally looking to talk to you, is the type of person you want to be talking to.
Oh, yeah. So he said, if everything was banned, what would I do? Walk, drive around. That's how I got my first one, driving around. PPC marketing channels, yeah, Alpha Media, Courtney Scott. I'll drop his Instagram. Yeah, DM that guy. He can get you set up. Tell him that Ben Williams referred him, and then he'll probably give you like a better startup fee. Any changes in innovations for legislation? If they've outlawed wholesaling, it makes it difficult. So I typically just do a double close. But I've just pulled all the marketing from the states. Like I don't even do deals in South Carolina anymore because of that. I've been getting pitch innovations. Yeah.
Have you ever negotiated a lien before on a property? Like you come to the closing table last second, somebody says, or the title company says they've got a lien on the property they need to clear up that is more than like the purchase price. That's the situation I'm going through this week.
She doesn't work with me anymore, but my old assistant, that was primarily what she did, is the entire back check of like, make sure the title's good, make sure there's no liens. And she would actually, God, we did one in North Dakota, and it was like a $15,000 purchase price with a $17,000 lien on it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you're gonna have to come to the closing table and pay us $2,000. And but she actually, it was the first time ever in the state where they dropped the lien because it was like a child support lien. So yeah, he actually got paid in full.
Wow.
So yeah, typically I'll try to fight him because unless it's the seller's fault, right? Unless it's like they didn't pay for their car payment or some shit, I'll try to go fight it, and like we'll call in. It's a pain, but now you can hire a VA out to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a situation like that right now. We were planning to close a deal tomorrow, and last second.
What's the lien?
I don't know yet. We called the company today, and they said that they needed a power of attorney to speak with us. So we'll see what it is once we get all that filed. But building that relationship with the seller, them wanting to work with me, keeping them in the deal, and being there to be able to help and serve them anyway to make that process easier. I was on that call.
Did you have a signed POA with the seller?
It's a long story, but the owner of the property is married to his wife, and the owner had an ex-wife that they two owned it. The ex-wife died, and the wife of the seller's in jail, like prison, and the wife is like on death row, like she's about to pass away. She's not doing well. So
she's on death row, also in prison.
No, not on. No, not
Oh,
on.
Damn,
Yo, that
Bonnie
would
and
be
Clyde,
crazy.
son.
Yo, that'd be crazy. But she's not doing well. Like she's in the hospital. You know, she's not doing well. So
Okay.
she's trying to
Yeah,
get this
yeah,
sold before she passes away, and she has power of attorney of the seller, which is in prison. But
yeah,
you know, she can't be the one to negotiate with this lien holder. You know, she's trying
yeah,
to stay
yeah.
alive. So these are the
You could
types
just
of
get her to sign a
situations.
POA to give you negotiation rights with with the lien.
Yeah, yep. That's the plan. So hopefully this coming Monday we'll get all that squared away and you know
Is there any other like time constraint besides her dying?
no no other time constraint.
Have you had a seller die yet?
No, God no. Hopefully
I had
this
a
is not the
seller. I
first
had a
one.
seller. Dude. I had a seller die on me.
No way.
Yeah,
No
yeah. Out
way.
of Texas, dude. It was really sad. I was like probably the second last person to talk to him.
No way.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
had
crazy.
like I had my real estate agent like go take him different type of like food and like medicine and stuff, and he died.
Wow.
Yeah. To
That's
the
crazy.
point with yeah, this is how you know you're giving good service. When that happened, the bank basically was in, or the guy's sister was kind of in charge of the sale of the house, and the bank was trying to sell it. I don't remember why. It was kind of weird. And then that guy's sister that died went to that bank and was like, "You have to use this company. Like they helped my dad." And so now like my agent's selling the house. I'm not doing an innovation on it, but we're doing a referral on it.
Wow.
Yep.
Talk about service, man.
Can a seller pay attorney general lien that has no? The question was, can a seller pay a attorney general lien that has two parties on the lien without the other party being aware of the payoff? No, unless that one signer has a power of attorney. You can't make any type of legal decisions for another person. As much as I would like to sometimes. All right. Oh, we got one more question. Here we go. You're welcome. Sweet.
Well,
All right, brother.
thank you
It's
so
been a
much,
blast.
Ben. Absolutely, man. It has been. And I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing. I know you dropped some gems, man. We're going to chop it up here and I'll send you some stuff we can post.
Thanks, brother. I
Absolutely.
appreciate everybody that showed up. Makes me feel cool.
No, absolutely, man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the
Yeah,
number
thank you
one
guys.
most valuable real estate community in existence. If you haven't already, you got to come and be in proximity with us. Join us on Discord at discord.gg/REIRev and on our new website coming soon, reirev.com. If you haven't already, you got to invite somebody you
And
think would benefit from being in proximity with us by sending them that link. Make sure if you've watched the video to this point that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and drop a comment letting us know what you learned from this video. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you, Ben. Take care. Love you,
yes,
bro.
sir. See you,
God
brother.
bless.
Love you too, man. Peace.